Welcome to the Collide Kids Podcast, hosted by Christen Clark. This is a show for kids and families. You are going to meet new people and have fun while you listen. Let's do it!
Hey, y'all, welcome to the Collide Kids Podcast. I'm your host, Christen Clark. The Collide Kids Podcast is a show for kids and families where we learn together how life and faith collide. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you for listening today. It means so much to me whenever you click download, whenever you turn this on in your car or while you're listening in your house while you're doing chores or whatever you're doing. I just appreciate it so much. Before we jump into today's conversation, I want to remind you, if you love what you're hearing on this show, don't forget I also offer another podcast called 7-Minute Devotions for Busy Parents. It's a super quick 7-minute, twice weekly devotional podcast just to help you stay rooted in the truth and your identity in Christ. That's what it's all about. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Like I said, it's just 7 minutes, so it's an easy commitment, but I think it'll really benefit you and your family. One more thing, and this is something that we don't often talk about on this show, but I should remind you that this show is also on YouTube. So if you are listening right now through audio, you might want to go over to our YouTube channel and watch this episode on YouTube. You can see what the guests look like. And if we hold up a book or a prop or somebody's cat jumps on their head like they did in one of the episodes a few weeks ago, you can see what happens. And it's so fun. So go over to our YouTube channel, the Collide Kids Podcast, just search that and hit subscribe. It's a simple way for you to support the show, and it helps us reach more families. Speaking of YouTube, today I am joined by Justin Stuart. And if you or your kids have ever been watching YouTube in the past few years, there's a good chance you've come across his content. Justin is the co-creator of the wildly popular YouTube channel JStu, which has over 1 million subscribers and more than 3 billion total views across his channels. What I love about Justin's work is that it's clean, it's creative, it's genuinely family friendly. That's something that so many of us are looking for. Today, we're going to learn a little bit more about what Justin is up to now. And he's taking his humor and creativity, all the things he does from his YouTube channel, and he's put it into a brand new space with his very first graphic novel called The Blobs. In this conversation, we talk about content creation, creativity, and what it looks like to build something that families can actually enjoy together. If you're a fan of YouTube or graphic novels, or you just love to listen to creative people talk about their creative process, I think you're really going to enjoy today's episode. So here is my conversation with Justin Stuart. Well, Justin Stuart, I am so honored to have you on the Collide Kids Podcast today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Excited to have a conversation and share some good news.
Yeah, this is great. Would you just share with our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Justin Stuart, and I ran the YouTube channel JStu for the past 14 years and recently decided to end it. And now I moved to Tennessee. I'm writing books and I'm running my own personal YouTube channel with big dreams, big goals. And one of them being to launch a feature-length animation of my book series. So that's the big dream. But right now, just rocking it out with my family.
That's amazing. I love that. And I can't believe you did YouTube for 14 years, you said?
Yeah, a long time. I'm like, how old am I?
That's amazing. Okay, well, I'm excited to talk to you about all of this. I think this is going to be so fun for our listeners to hear your story. But before we get into that, because this is a show for kids, I always ask my guests to tell me a joke or something funny. So what do you want to share with us today?
Okay, I don't have too many jokes, but I have a really fun time making up voices, so I can do stuff like this or like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Help me. Oh, goodness gracious. So I have a big list of character voices that I like to just grab into. And I did some of the voices in the audiobook, actually, of my series. And so very passionate about that for sure.
I love that. Those are great voices. And those could be in your feature film at some point, right?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Let's first talk about your YouTube channel, because I think this is so interesting. I think lots of kids are consuming lots of YouTube. And so they're all interested of how you got started. with a YouTube channel that had a really big reach, right?
Yeah. We have over 12 million subscribers and 3 or 4 billion upload views. So it's been quite the journey to get there. And it didn't just all blow up in one day. And so, starting from the beginning, I always loved to just be in front of the camera. I had a camera since I was a kid. My parents got me the camera. We had a family camera, which had the old small VHS tapes you'd put in.
Oh, yeah.
A lot different than now. And then I was making home movies with my sister, my friend and business partner in the YouTube business, Andrew. We made all sorts of videos until one day my mom and dad got me a digital camera.
Okay.
And once we got the digital camera, we started to dabble in editing, and then YouTube was a thing. And so we're like, oh, we could upload our videos on YouTube and share it with our friends and family, because there wasn't really a way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And we had zero intention in turning it into a business, but it did turn into something because God had bigger and better plans than we could have even came up with on our own. Because at the time I was pretty young. That 14 years ago, I'm 32. So I was in high school and just having fun, being a goofball. But slowly and surely, as we kept uploading to YouTube, we're like, oh, you can get views and people can leave comments. And so we kept doing that, and it would slowly grow. And we had viral videos that really took our channel to the next level as we continued to upload.
Okay. I think that's really cool. So what were your videos about when you first got started?
When we first got started, it was skits, actually. So
okay.
I was just making goofy home videos of, all sorts of things. And then after a few skits, we were aware of YouTube. We went on YouTube, and there are these pranksters that we followed, like family-friendly pranksters. And we're like, oh, that's so fun. We could do that. And we got the camera and mics, and we went out and started doing pranks. And that was when we started to really see growth, was in our prank videos.
Okay.
And so over the years, we've changed quite a bit. So we don't do pranks anymore, and we haven't for a really long time. But we went from skits to pranks to vlogs, daily vlogs, challenges, adventures, overnights, builds. So we've probably dabbled in a bit of everything over the last 14 years. And it's been, man, so much fun.
Yeah, it sounds so fun. What are some of your favorite memories or some of your favorite videos that you created?
Ooh, there's too many to count. Honestly, I have 2,400 videos that we've filmed.
Whoa.
And one that does come to mind was we got to spend the night on a Navy aircraft carrier, which they never do that. They never allow like a citizen to go experience that. But we've been in contact with them for years, and they're like, yeah, we can make it happen. So spent the night, got to experience all that comes with an aircraft carrier, slept on it. And even Andrew got to land on the aircraft carrier in a real F-18.
Wow.
It was just a crazy video. And that's just one video, but that's definitely one that comes to mind.
That's really awesome. I love that. So you said earlier that you no longer do the YouTube channel, or that one. You have a new one now. But tell me what that was like, that process of like walking away from that. Because it sounded like a lot of fun. It was really successful. So what was the thing that made you want to transition?
Man, it was the hardest decision I've had to make. Because at the time, we, like you said, had success. We had 12 full-time employees working for us on the YouTube channel. And I feel like for the last few years, God's been changing my heart in a way where we were feeding the machine of YouTube, is what I like to say about it. It's like, in order to get views, you kind of have to play the YouTube game, right? You can't just make any old video and hope it gets views. You got to be intentional with how you film them, the titles, the thumbnails. And so playing the YouTube game for 14 years got me to a place of like, I don't really want to play the game anymore. And I want to just be myself. Not that I wasn't being myself when I make the videos, but more be myself who I feel like I am now, and make the content that I want to make now. And I remember specifically sitting down in my kitchen with my kids, and I was like, okay, I've been wrestling with this feeling internally for a little while. And I'm like, I just want to take a break from the algorithm, and I'm going to get out my iPad, which I haven't done in a while, and just draw. Because as a kid, I drew a lot. I made up characters. I wrote little stories. So I'm going to do that again, because at the end of the day, kids, they don't think about the algorithm. They don't.
Right.
They simply just create and use their imagination. And I'm like, I haven't been doing that. So I'm going to do that with drawing. And it was so much fun. I'm sitting next to my daughter. She's helping me come up with the names of the characters. And even at this point, I'm not like, I'm going to turn this into something. But I felt I experienced so much joy in this type of creating that I was like, I need to do this more. And so after I made all these characters and got out my notepad and started drawing or writing a story, I was, again, continuing to just have so much fun. And so long story short, I got a book publishing deal for my story because of how much fun I had. And I decided that I feel like God's taking me in this new direction where I can choose. I can choose to change, or I can choose to stay the same. And I feel like most of us in life will experience that. Do we change? And how do we change? And I think we oftentimes choose to not change because of fear. You know, I could have stayed the same because like I'm comfortable. I have success. I have money and I'm having fun. Why would I want to give that up? But when God does something to you in your heart and in your mind, and starts to change things, I want to go with him. I want to go with him on that journey, because going back to like when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't have any intention of turning it into something, but God did. God took me on an adventure.
Yeah.
And so I feel like he's now taking me on another adventure. And so if I want to go on that new adventure, I have to close a door in order to open a new one.
That's so interesting what you said about how God just started to change your heart. What do you think it was? How did you know that God was doing something in you and it wasn't just, you know, your idea or something that you came up with in your head?
I think it was a slow, kind of like a seed that was planted and began to grow and grow, and it wouldn't go away. Because like, I think I was very cautious about it at first. I was like, why am I feeling this way? And I feel like maybe sometimes people, even in that moment, are like, all right, give it up. Like they change immediately. But I think you got to be intentionally slow in order to truly hear from the Lord in certain instances. And for me, it was over years of processing, talking with other people, getting wise counsel, and that feeling not going away. When that feeling's not going away and I'm praying and asking the Lord, can you show me, help me see what do I need to do? You can take that as a sign of like, okay. But at the end of the day, I think we can simplify it down to faith. A lot of the times we might not have the exact answer or blueprint as to what we want to do in life. But you have to have faith in order to get anywhere. It's not like God's coming down and sitting right in front of me being like, Justin, here's exactly what you need to do. Here's how you're going to do it. It's not like that. It's more of like, okay, through the simple and through the moments of prayer, through reading scripture, that God can speak. But at the end of the day, you're taking a leap of faith. And I feel like God honors that, and it's important.
Absolutely. And I love that verse in James chapter 1, where it says, when we ask God for wisdom, he gives it to us generously. So a lot of times we think we ask God to show us what to do, and he's like, here's a little hint and guess over here. But that's not true. The Bible tells us that God gives us generously amounts of wisdom. And so like you were seeking it through prayer, through talking to, wise counsel, people that could speak into your life, and scripture. So all these different things, God was giving you that wisdom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm very thankful for it, and I'm continuing to just trust him and lean into him, because a journey with God is far better than a journey without God.
And I love that you said he's taking you on an adventure. So like you said, he started with an adventure. You had no intention of that. And now you're going into this next adventure. Tell us about your books, because I think this is so interesting. You just started doodling and drawing, and all of a sudden you have a book deal. How did you figure out that this story that you were creating was going to be a book or a book series?
Well, I feel like when because I love storytelling. Obviously, making YouTube videos is all about storytelling. And so I feel like my imagination is like a black hole. It's like I have so many ideas. And when I was writing, it was just like what they call like flow state. I feel like I had all these characters. I had a story and I was just like having so much fun writing. And so I just began to continue to lean into that and be like, man, this is a story that I am enjoying writing for myself, that my kids are enjoying, and I want other people to enjoy as well.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to tell stories that are so valuable for the next generation, not only for them as they like process and grow, but also valuable with parents, because you want to be able to connect with your kids and read with your kids. And if the parent is enjoying the story, then surely the kids are going to enjoy it even more. Mm-hmm. And so I want to create something that is enjoyable for both the kid and the parent. And I met my publisher and they heard my vision and they heard my story and they loved it too. And so they believed in me and took a leap of faith with me on it. And I'm writing 6 books in my series right now.
Wow. You're writing 6? So you have 2 that are out now or 1 that's out now?
Yeah, the first one's out. And then this, depending on when this episode drops, the second one is dropping April 7th. So very soon for us while we're recording this.
Tell us a little bit about this book series. What is it about and what age group would you say this book is for?
Yeah, this book series is for, I'd say, 8 to 15-year-olds.
Okay.
There's a lot of words, but there's a lot of pictures because me personally, I'm a very visual person. So I wanted to ensure that there was illustrations throughout the book. It just helps tell the story better and you could see the characters and have a mental theater in your mind while you're reading. And this story follows these characters called the Blobs. Book 1, it's basically about a giant meteor is coming to destroy their planet. And so they have to leave to go settle on a new planet. And so they take these escape pods and leave the planet. But this specific escape pod with a group of 5 blobs has to crash land on an unknown planet on their way to their new planet because their escape pod malfunctions. But once they land on the planet, they realize they're not alone and that there's a villain on this planet doing something sinister, has a big evil plan that they have now uncovered. And so one of them gets captured and they have to rescue him and escape back home and tell the rest of their civilization that there's this evil plan going on that involves a doomsicle. You'll see in the book. I use a lot of fun words. I make up a lot of words because I just love that sort of imagination.
Yeah.
And I want to make people laugh too. So it follows this journey and this huge adventure. Kind of like if you think about Star Wars, there's all these planets and worlds and characters. It's like that in that sense, because there's many planets in my universe. There's many different characters, villains, good guys, bad guys, ships, space travel, action, adventure, comedy. It has all those things, but also has depth to it and it has meaning to it.
What is the main theme or like the takeaway that you want kids that are reading this book or families that are reading this book together? What is it that you want them to get out of these books?
Yeah, I think throughout like the 6 books, I'm going to explore a lot of different themes. So like I'm a Christian, but my book isn't inherently like all about Bible verses and stuff. It's just I'm a Christian telling a cool story. And so the themes throughout the story are going to be apparent because I am a follower of Christ. And so the themes range from friendship, forgiveness, teamwork. Like in the first 2 books, those are very much a prevalent thing. And I wanted to be really intentional with the main characters and make them very unique because when a kid reads, I want them to be able to connect with a character and almost see themselves in these characters and watch them as they grow as a character, that there's progression. So for example, one of the main characters really struggles with anxiety. And so we get to watch him as he makes decisions while dealing with his own anxiety at the same time and watch how he grows through that. Another character is very crazy and doesn't think too much and makes decisions like off a whim. And I feel like a lot of kids can relate to that because, you know,
I can relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. We just want to have fun, but we're not often thinking about, okay, who is this impacting? So there's many characters like that and they each represent something different. And so I want parents to also be able to like, oh, because as parents, we struggle with anxiety as well. And so I want to be able to lean into those like things subtly and be like, I like how he responded to anxiety in this moment. Because I remember in the past, he didn't respond that way, but clearly he's growing, because that's the goal at the end of the day for all of us, right? We want to grow.
Right.
Jesus is sanctifying us. So hopefully we're learning. And when we fail, we get back up and we try again. So that's my goal and mission behind all this.
Now, you said earlier that you're also starting another YouTube channel. Is that with the story of the Blobs, or is this something different?
In a way, yes. So it's my personal YouTube channel. So it's just my name, which is It's Justin Stuart. And on that channel, I'm documenting my journey as a new author and as a storyteller, kind of showing a behind the curtain look at what it's like to launch a book series. Mm-hmm. I bring viewers with me, like into meetings and into the launches and behind the scenes of all my creative adventures. So I want to be able to use my YouTube channel as a creative hub for other people who are trying to create something, so that they can find inspiration for themselves, because they're seeing me do it, and they hopefully can see themselves doing the same thing and believe in themselves through what they watch.
I'm going to have to check that out. I'm actually working on writing a book right now, so I'm interested in all the things that you're diving into. So what advice would you give someone like me, or someone who's listening right now who has an idea of something they want to create or something they want to put together? What would your advice be?
My advice to somebody trying to create something is to first and foremost believe in yourself. God has made you so unique and put abilities in you that he hasn't put in other people for a very specific reason. And so obviously trusting in the Lord through that. But when you believe in your unique creativity, that offers something to the world that is needed to impact the world. And so don't feel like you have to look at what everyone else is doing and be like, well, my creativity doesn't look like what everyone else is doing. Is anyone going to buy this? You know, for me, I could be like, is anyone going to buy this like goofy book series? Like, I'm 32 and like, are any 32-year-olds writing kid stories and fun imagination stories? You can get into this way of thinking that really compares yourself to others and stops you from really going after what God has put on your heart. So when you believe in yourself, you'll truly create something that is unique and awesome, and God will use that, and he'll bring the right people who need to hear from you when you're being yourself in that.
That's such good encouragement, and that's so true. Justin, this has been so great. I'm so excited for your books. I think actually my son would love to read these books. We're going to check them out. Where can our listeners find out more about you and your YouTube and your books?
Yeah, well, if you're into watching like the behind the scenes, you can catch me on my YouTube channel. It's Justin Stuart. I'm uploading every week. It's family friendly, of course. And if you're into the books, they're available anywhere books are sold. Amazon has good deals right now going, at least when we're recording this. So you can get it on there and get it on your doorstep the next day. And I also recorded audiobooks for both of them.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm very proud of them because, like I said, I did some of the voices. I hired a whole slew of actors. We have music in it. So it's like a literal audio movie experience.
Oh, cool.
And it is so cool. So you can get that wherever you listen to books. And I have Instagram, and that's it. So if you like Instagram, I'm posting on there too.
Very cool. Well, that's awesome. I love that you have an audiobook and we can hear some of your crazy voices that you did earlier.
Oh,
that's cool.
Yep. And
so
book
good.
2 has even more crazy voices. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, before I let you go, I always like to ask my guests to tell me a memory from when they were a kid. So what is a memory you want to share for us today? I
went on vacations with my family a lot. And I remember on this specific vacation, we went out to dinner at this nice Mexican restaurant. And me being the goofball I am, I was always looking for moments to kind of just create laughter and make my parents laugh. And so there was a napkin on the table and I grabbed it and I secretly put it on top of my dad's head without him noticing. So he's sitting there during dinner with an entire napkin on his head. Me, my mom, and my sister are dying laughing, and the waiter's coming up and talking to us. And he's just like, you know, he has no clue, and we're just like crying. And he's like, "Why are you guys laughing?" And then it eventually just falls off, and he's just like, "Really, guys?" So I just had a good time like creating moments like that. And that's one that comes to mind for me.
That's awesome. And that's when you were 30, right?
Yeah. It was just 2 years ago.
A couple years ago.
I would do it now, though, honestly.
Yeah. Why not? Well, Justin, thank you so much for being on the show today. This was great.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
That was awesome. I loved getting to meet Justin and hearing his story. I love when he was sharing a little bit at the beginning about how God was starting to change something in his life. He realized that change was coming and he had a choice to make. He could go on a new adventure with God or he could stay comfortable where he was. And he chose to make that decision. And I love that he took some time to do that. He spent time in prayer. He was seeking wise counsel from other people. And he was diving into God's word because that feeling of change wasn't going away. So he realized at the end of the day, he just had to take a leap of faith. That's just what we need. We may not know or have the exact blueprint of what God is up to, but we just have to take that leap of faith. And Justin said he really believed that God honors that when we do that in our lives. Justin also encouraged creative people who are trying to create something new, just believe in yourself. God has made you so unique and put abilities in you that he hasn't put in other people for a very specific reason. So trust the Lord and trust the unique creativity that he's given to you because it might be something that the world needs. That is so true. Justin's book series is filled with themes like friendship, anxiety, making good decisions, and characters that kids can really connect with. So if you want to check out the Blobs graphic novel adventures and audiobooks, head over to Amazon or wherever you get your books or wherever you listen to your books. And be sure to follow his new YouTube channel, It's Justin Stuart. We'll have the links for all of these in our show notes so that you can just click that link. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening today. I hope that today's episode was encouraging. Maybe you just take a moment to think about one thing from today's episode that stood out to you or something that you don't want to forget. Write it down. That would be a great thing to do. And remember, you don't have to do everything, but just taking that next small step that God is inviting you into, that is the most important thing. Before we go, I just want to remind you that I am praying for you. I appreciate you. And God loves you so much. Don't ever forget that. Have a great week, and we'll see you back on the next episode.
You know, raising kids in the digital age isn't easy, but Bark Technology makes products that help parents keep their kids safe online and in real life. They have an app, a phone, and a home device that lets families set parental controls on their internet-connected devices. I love the app because it helps us manage screen time and blocks websites and apps we want our kids to avoid. It also sends alerts and gives us the ability to monitor texts and social media and even track your child's location. Visit bark.us to learn more about how you can keep your kids safe online. Use the code COLLIDEKIDS to get 15% off your subscription of the Bark app.